Hey lads and ladies, I'm the Jawesome one, and welcome to Biotope. This is an aquarium simulator. It's available on Steam for $20, and I received it for free, so I may as well do a quick review on it. The game has its own tutorial, and the game seems alright, but there are also a bunch of issues with it. I tried to actually record my initial response to it and make this more of a let me show you episode, or more of a let me show you. But actually, I think this is enough to qualify what I'm doing here as a full review. So here's everything you need to know. So you start off with a budget and then a tank. And it's just, you start off with different presets. I did the tutorial, right? So that's why my tank looks the way it does, more or less. More or less. I'll get into this. I'll get into some of the other specifics for why it looks the way it does as we get along. And then we also have this background, which is also purchasing as part of the tutorial. It can either start up blank, or it can start off with a few presets. And the deal of the game is it's more of a puzzle. It's more of a puzzle game because it's supposed to simulate what it's actually like to be an aquarium owner, with of course a few unrealistic things changed just to try and make things a little bit more interesting. The game, again, it behaves more like a puzzle. There's all these different things you have access to, like what the heck is a pH level? How do I manage my temperature? What is dissolved oxygen? There's just a whole bunch of stuff in here, but first thing you need to do is you need to have a filter and then a heater. And then you can't really see it, but there is also a... Hold on, actually, no, wrong button. What did I click to be able to... There we go. You also have a lamp. But yeah, you pick out all these different plants here. You have all these different fish. And this one is very stressed out because the pH levels are too high. But we'll get into that in a little bit. When you get all of this from the store, so obviously here's your initial place to get the things you need. So here's where you get your filter, your heater, your lamp. Here's where you get your different fish. Here's where you buy different aquariums. Like you can actually buy larger sized aquariums so you can put more stuff in it. Though of course you have to actually figure out a way to make money. Making money in this game is actually kind of impossible because the only way you can really do that is by completing quests that the game just sort of gives you. And completing them earns you experience, which unlocks you more things, which I do kind of generally like games that have a system like that. But what I don't like about it in this game is that there's just not enough stuff. There's not enough stuff to really justify having so many things locked. I will admit, though, there are a lot of accessories to choose from. That I'm willing to backpedal on. But anyways, here's something that the tutorial won't tell you if you decide to get this. One of the things you need to get for your starting aquarium is you need to make sure you have something like this in here. Because with a fresh new pool means you have a very high pH level. I'm talking like, mine started out with 12. You saw earlier, right, that the pH level of this tank is at about 7.05. It's like, okay, I don't know what that means, but okay. Well, pH level is actually really important because if it's too high or too low, it can kill your fish and it can kill your plants. So here's where you go to determine the stress level of your fish. So obviously you need to keep the fish at a good temperature, and that's what the heater's for. Without the heater, it'll get too cold. And of course, you have to monitor the heater to keep, otherwise, that it can become a problem. The pH level you measure via this, and this is actually the hardest part for me, is figuring out exactly what a pH level needs to be for every individual fish and plant. Because it fluctuates like crazy. To the point where a lot of people describe it as unrealistic. And I've never owned it. I did own an aquarium once as a kid growing up, but I never monitored the pH levels, which probably explains why my fish all died. But because I didn't know what I was doing. But it just seems unrealistic because it fluctuates really fast. Like in a single, it's like every 3 days you have to readjust the pH level. And there are different ways that you readjust this. All right, so one of the ways is you go to the store and you pick up either this or I think it's this. Yeah, either hydrochloric acid or sodium bisulfate prills, which obviously just adjust the pH levels of the water and make your fish happy. But this also does a couple of other things, like it lowers carbonate hardness. And then I have no idea what general hardness does, but just, kind of the hardness of the water, it just kind of helps it. This can be used to increase total hardness. Interesting. But yeah, you have to constantly keep these things in check and make sure that the fish and the plants are both happy at the same time, which is pretty difficult because a lot of these plants and a lot of these fish are really incompatible with one another. Take a look at this plant, for example, the Carolina fenwort. Okay, it's a $6 plant. Sure. Its weight full grown is 3 grams. Length is 40 centimeters. Okay. Then here's some neat little information down here, which is cool. But then if you look at the temperature, that is a very specific temperature. And that is a very specific pH level. So 1, it is unhappy. 11, it is extremely unhappy. So it's like, okay, so if it falls a little bit low, that's probably okay. Well, no, because it's very strict on its pH level and its temperature level. So let's say we have a completely different fish, like say this one. Actually, this one might not be the best example, because it actually has a very wide range and it just wants the pH generally kind of high, which I think is, it is a good example. It's like you look here, the pH is clearly landing somewhere at probably around 5, maybe 5 to 6.5, somewhere in that range. That's another thing that I find frustrating, is that you can't even like click on this and figure out exactly what the levels are for the plant to be happy. You can't do that. You can't do that with the fish either. I can't figure out how far this is or how far this is. It doesn't tell you. You just kind of have to guess. In my playthrough with my current setup, my fish get unhappy with me the second the pH level falls lower than 5.5 and the minute it goes higher than about 6.5. So that's a very, very specific pH temperature to keep. And here's why this is so frustrating to deal with. So you have 2 ways to lower the pH level. All right, so right now it's 7.05. So if I just arbitrarily really, really needed to lower it, I can throw in the hydrochloric acid, or I could throw in something like some pieces of driftwood. Now this is actually the worst piece of driftwood you can use for this sort of thing. I suppose it's fine for right now. In fact, I may just go ahead and throw it in there. Just really quick. Just for a little bit to help lower that pH level and get it down to more natural levels. And of course we are going in regular speed, so it's not going to happen very, very soon. Game actually operates in real time, by the way. So you could actually leave this sitting and running for hours and hours if you just like to have aquariums, So that's something. That is something that I kind of like about it. It's just something you could have like in the background. I don't know, like imagine being a small business. Just put one of your employees in charge of feeding the fish, feeding and caring for the fish. Have this as a display in the waiting room. I don't know. I kind of like that actually about this. But yeah, the fish are all in pretty good shape. These fish, the cardinal tetras, and I think it's just the cardinal tetras, get very unhappy. Very unhappy. No, I'm sorry, the green neon tetras, you couldn't see them, so I couldn't select them. They get very unhappy with the pH levels being above 6.5. Very unhappy. This right here is 6.5. This right here is I think 5.0. That's a very specific range. I'll show you why this is a problem. Well, actually, to show you why, I think it would be best if I speed up time here. Yeah, I'm going to have to, because if I just straight up show you it, then it would cause a problem. But as time goes on, the pH level gradually goes down. And this goes down a lot faster when you have that little log in here. So obviously I'm going to pull the log out. Also, I need to keep a close eye on the fish, because once they get hungry, that becomes a problem. See, like, their stress level is going down now because we're approaching that 6.5. 6.7 is now the next day in game. Let's throw in some food for them. You only need to throw in about 0.8 grams of food per day for the amount of fish I have. I have 7 fish. So about 0.1 grams of food per day is enough to keep your fish happy, which I think that sounds fairly realistic. Though what I have noticed, and this is more of a nitpick really, but if your fish get super duper hungry, oh wow, that's not that's not normal. But if the fish gets super unhealthy, like super unfed, oh my goodness, that is not supposed to be happening. That needs to be fixed. So one of the reviews was mentioning that, but I had yet to see it for myself. Wow, that's just bad. Also, if you look at it from the top down, the graphics really get lessened. They really reduce when you look at it from the top like that, but it's fine. You know, water physics aren't exactly the easiest thing to figure out. And it does look pretty, while it looks like this. But anyways, that's not what I wanted to show you guys. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, and I'm going to wait until it gets down to about 5.5. And I'll show you where my problem lies. Weekly status report. This is another thing. Every time a week passes, you get a budget, which increases as you level up. And then, of course, you have an electricity bill. And if you manage to keep fish and plants completely stress-free, they never get stressed out, period, during the entire time that you keep them, then that's 0. Then, yeah, you get a bonus, which is I don't know how big of a bonus it is because I haven't gotten there, because the tutorial doesn't really give you any specific plants to throw in. It doesn't like really recommend anything for you. It's just like, here, throw some plants, throw some fish in from this selection. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't think about it. And after playing the tutorial, all 5 of my starting fish died because I didn't understand the pH levels. We're at 12, and I needed to throw a log in here. I had to figure out that it's a log that you throw in to save the fish. I also didn't figure out that I could pull the fish out of the tank and just keep them in capsules and keep them happy. But anyways, they were able to remain within the green range for the most part, so I did get a bonus for that, which is cool. 5 plants, 5 fish. No, 7. No, 3 plants, 7 fish. No. I don't know. But yeah, that's how you get money, which you use to buy more things. It is now a new in-game day, so let's go ahead and give them some more food. Oh, no, not that much. So again, this only needs to happen every few in-game days. It's not that big a deal. But once it drops down to about this low, then it becomes a problem for a few of the specific fish, I believe. No, it becomes this big of a problem for the plants. That's right. Yeah, so you're fine with 3.5. And you are also fine with, yeah, of course you're fine because you take issue with the high pH levels. You don't take so much issue with the low. But some of these other fish, maybe I'm thinking of this one? No. I must be thinking of these ones. Yeah, these ones, I think, get upset the quickest. I can't remember exactly what it is. But the plants get upset definitely really fast about lower pH compared to the fish. These plants are always the first to start a problem. Oh my goodness. Second it hits 5.5, it's not even 5.5, it's like 5.75 or some weird number that you can't figure out by clicking on this. Doesn't tell you anything, which is really frustrating, but yeah. There you go. But we're going to wait down till we get down to about 5. Okay. Yeah, we're low enough now that I think I can prove my point to you guys. So see, right now, the stress is getting very, very close to their edge. Maybe for these guys, it's actually a little bit lower than 5. I can't remember. I know I had fish at one point that were upset if it dropped down to anywhere less than 5. Let's see how upset they are now. Yeah, stress level 4.8% now, 4.8, 2.4, 4.8. So they're getting to that point now. Even though they're still in the green zones, completely within the green zones, they're getting a little bit stressed out because the pH levels aren't quite as high. And the plants, of course, are really losing their minds. Really losing their minds because they want that stress level to be between 6 and I think 7.5. But now I can show you guys why I find this so frustrating. So you go here, and this is what you do when you need to raise the pH levels. Just change out some of the water with tap water. And okay, that's pretty cool. Oh, you can't. Oh my goodness, I feel so stupid. Here's how I've been doing it for this whole time. 10%, all right? 10%, and it raises the pH to 6.72, which is enough to upset some of the other fish. But apparently I can just drag it up by little bitty bits, and I can drag it up and have it go even as low as 1% at a time. And I did not know this before. So now I hate myself. Wow. So now all my plants are happy. Well, that'll be all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. No, okay. I'm glad that I know that now and that you guys do. And this right here is everything you need to know about the game. You can buy all the fish you want. You can buy all the plants. You can buy all the shells. I guess one thing I didn't really show you was their questing system. So there's available. Then there's ongoing, right? Which I currently have the botanist, which means I have to keep all 5 of these plants below 20% stress for 5 days in a row. Easier said than done, as you've seen. Then there's these other ones like the tutorial, and then time lapse, which is, just passing time gives you money. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm very tired. A lot happened today. I got hired for a new job. Got hired. I now have a brand new job. I'm working for the local college in my area. And I'm going to be working pretty hard. It seems like I start working tomorrow officially. So yeah, that's pretty cool. By the time you're seeing this video, I'll already be doing it actually. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about this game. It's kind of nice. I like it. I think it's a good thing to keep around if you have like your own special office. Just you, the owner, or maybe you have somebody else. Just kind of mess with it from time to time. Because it operates in real world time. I believe those are real world seconds that are being displayed there. I'm not so sure about the weekly system though. I'm not so sure about. There you go. That's it for my review. Oh, yeah, there's this last thing I guess you could look at. It's literally just statistics. Oh, this is actually a much easier way to look at the stats than what I've been doing. Yeah, wow, this is quite a bit easier. It even tells me what their DNA rating is. So in case if any of them decide to mate, yeah, the fish will mate. The fish will breed. But these logs, this thing called humic substances, that's what it uses to lower the pH level of the water. So if it's too high, yeah, throw one of these in there, boom. Various driftwood or root pieces cleaned but otherwise left untreated. Wood is chemically active and releases humic acid, which darkens the water and lowers the pH. In addition, the wood slowly absorbs calcium and magnesium, which reduces the general hardness of the tank. And then this is just decoration. This is for like the ground. And obviously you start off with this. And then for the walls you get this from the tutorial. And then you have these, which are nice. There you go. And alright, I'm definitely not picking this up and playing this again. This is not my kind of game. I find this so boring. I nearly fell asleep. It's even while trying to pass forward time and keep an eye on things. Because I did attempt to record this before, and OBS was not having it. Speaking of which, I need to check and see. I'm still concerned. The whole reason I had to delete that recording was because OBS didn't actually record it. But I think I just had a setting wrong. Don't worry about it. Yeah, take care and have a good one. I'll see you next time. That concludes my review, my terrible review for Biotope Simulator.